Yo, it's your man MAS, back with new content. Alright, we got a new anime to talk about, the Apothecary Diaries. Alright, yes, I finally am getting around to that show. Alright, and I mean, you see in the title, it's toxic shit. Alright, and there's like, not like the actual surface level of like, yeah, she messes with toxins, but in both like this current generation, the climate of like cancel culture, and of course, we're messing around with toxin. So, again, as your man MAS, we're just going to jump right into it. All right. The toxic hero, Maomao. I'm probably going to tell that in another video. All right. The show is really good. All right. So I'm almost finished with season 1. I'm going to jump into season 2. I mean, let's not bring up the whole criticism of like, hey, like all the best animes are action animes. I am telling you, I've made the argument before, I'll make it again. There are other popular genres other than just shonen, all right? The Apothecary Diaries exhibit that. But I feel like for the people like outside looking in, like the masses, like all they see is Solo Leveling and it's like, yo, the best thing since sliced bread, like nothing can even compete. Like, yes, I'm not saying the Apothecary Diaries is better than Solo Leveling. I'm just saying there is content out there that rivals stuff like Solo Leveling. That is just as good. Maybe not on the edge of your seat good, right? This isn't me on the edge of my seat, but it's just as good. But that's my rant for the day. So the toxic, I'm about to butcher the word, toxicity, right? But I'm just gonna call it toxic because if I say it again, I'm gonna butcher it. So basically, if I feel like other people probably made videos about it, if they haven't, I'll be surprised. But the era in which the Apothecary Diaries is in is toxic, all right? In the current climate that we're in, 2025, all right? Women empowerment, feminism, girl boss. Ain't no such thing as concubines, all right? I mean, we might call it like sex workers, but like people getting sold off and kidnapped, right? Like, I'm not trying to say those things don't happen in 2025, but the way America is in general, they kind of like put like a blind eye to that. That's me, like a blind eye. Whereas like, yeah, it's like OnlyFans and sex workers, but you know, it's women empowerment. Like they kind of throw like a wet paint over like shit. So it's like, it's still shit, right? Like it's still like a concubine theoretically, but you know, it's like, oh, well, you know, we're going to give it a different terminology. We're going to give it a different meaning. All right. I would probably even argue concubines back then were more dignified compared to like, I feel like people in 2025. And I don't want to stereotype because everybody who does OnlyFans, women who do OnlyFans, like not all of them are actually doing sex work. It just has like a really negative connotation. And it's under the guise of, yes, some of them can be viewed as concubines, the things that, you know, people are paying for, right? You're following me, right? But essentially that's what concubines did. So in Momo's era, it's like the wild west, right? Like, and I'm surprised they kept it as raw as they did, right? 'Cause I'm like, they let this pass production and stuff like that. Like, I mean, certain shows and certain animes, they really fight for the right of like freedom of artistic expression. But the way stuff is nowadays, again, like it's very like, you gotta sugarcoat it, and if you don't sugarcoat it, you're at the risk of being canceled, essentially, right? But that era was very toxic, and I really loved how real they kept it in terms of like keeping up with the era, because things really were like that in that era. The emperor had hella hoes. That actually does happen, or that actually was the thing, like in the historical context, right? So even though the show is not like verbatim, hey, like this is what actually happened in real history, it's an anime, right? But they kind of kept true to how things were in that era. If you were an emperor, yes, you had hella hoes or concubines or sex workers, whatever you want to call it. You had your pick of the litter, all right? But Lord forbid, if you're the president of the United States of America, you can't have hella hoes. Or at least you can't be vocal about having hella hoes. You just got the first lady and that's it. Don't you dare talk about you having hella first ladies. All right, Lord forbid. You saw what happened to Bill, right? Lord forbid, right? So there's that aspect, right? They kept really true to the historical context, and you know, they didn't like go full steam ahead. Like they showed like the rawness because it's the anime, so still like censored. You see, I mean, it's anime too. Like you see the big boobs, but they're never actually going to show, you know, the chest. They went as far as they could, like most animes. If you want to see the whole thing, watch hentai. But this isn't that kind of content, right? So there's that, and then there's Momo, all right, the toxic hero, the toxic ranger. If you play Path of Exile, our toxic queen. She loves everything toxic. I think her character is probably the most refreshing thing I've seen in a really long time. Other than Jinwoo, you know, Jinwoo's that nigga. Like I'm keep it real. He's the guy. Jinwoo is the guy. But there are certain characters that, in my opinion, kind of really make or break a show. Where it's like, hey, even if the show might not necessarily be good, because there's some animes like that where the characters actually really carry the show. Like the premise isn't as strong, but the characters are just like, yo, I love this character. Like I watch for this character and what this character is going to say and that character's personality. So that was Jinwoo for me in Solo Leveling, right? Solo Leveling is good in this, like Solo Leveling just checks so many boxes. Jinwoo is the guy, and the show is actually really good. The premise and everything, like it just checks a lot of boxes. The Apothecary Diaries, it's good. The issue is if for people who just like, it's more so for people who have like short attention spans, in my opinion. Like if you just need action right away, this might not be the show for you. Like it's not an action show. It's not an action anime, right? But like it's a really, really good show from what I've seen so far. Like it reminds me of anime back in the day. Like top tier storytelling, top tier characters, top tier premise. It's just not that kind of genre, right? But if you're one of those people who's pretty like broad in terms of like watching different things, amazing show. And they're tackling it from in my opinion, like, oh wow, her niche is toxins. She's the toxic queen. She's very self-aware about herbs and stuff like that. And of course the catch is, because she's so young, how does this young person know so much about like toxins and helping people, and you know what's poison, what's not poison, what can heal people? Pretty essentially making healers cool again. Because you can say whatever you want. If you are a nerd like me, you played every kind of MMO genre. The tank, the DPS, all right, damage per second. Back in the day, I had to like, I'm like, why does everybody keep calling it DPS? What the fuck is a DPS? It's damage per second, all right? They all about that big damage, all right? Apothecary Diaries isn't that, right? But and then there's the healer. There might be another category in MMOs, but the main ones are tank, DPS or attacker, healer, right? Nobody wants to be a healer. And there are people out there, before I get criticism, there are people out there who don't mind being a healer, but the percentage is probably like 0.11111. Like if you had to make a party in an MMO, nobody wants to be the healer. The healer literally just stands in the back, heal, like no action. Your action's pretty much helping me out. Hold my Coke, bro. Hold my Coca-Cola, bro. That's the healer's action. They don't get in there and attack the enemy. Some MMOs, which I'll give them credit for, they're trying to be like a little bit more creative, so the healers can do damage while also indirectly healing the teammates. Like the attacks can do like double things. Hey, I can attack you and the attack also heals me or heals my partner. Like they try to be creative, but essentially like the role of the healer is to sit in the back and to heal while the tank and the DPS do the heavy lifting, right? And it's boring. I think I've tried to be a healer once and it's boring. So more of the story before I'm on another rant, Momo, I call her Momo, but her role is essentially a healer in theory. Like the Apothecary Diaries, her knowledge of toxins and almost essentially like being a doctor is a healer and is really, really not popular. nobody wants to be a healer. I don't care what you say, all right? But they do such a good job at attacking the idea of a healer, apothecary, right? Like that it's so engaging. Like she's not your typical like healer. Like she's doing it in a non-superpower traditional sense, but it's so cool. And like I said, it's almost like she can cast certain things and use certain common things. Like I will admit, because of the era that they're into, they kind of make it easy to be impressive for her to come off impressive. Because I mean, like Lord forbid you do it in 2025, it wouldn't catch. I'm like, yo, she would have to be doing something extraordinary. Like she would have to be from the future, right? In 2025 now, and her knowledge from the future, maybe 30, 25, like, oh, like that's how most people catch, you know, the viewers in terms of anime. Like it has to be something that makes this character kind of uniquely different, whether it's the error or whether it's the knowledge or whether it's the skill/ability. So if they tried to do the same thing that they're doing in Apothecary Diaries in 2025, it wouldn't really work unless she came from the future, right? And then, you know, was in 2025 and she used that knowledge to help people and people were just amazed. Because that's how it works. The era that they're in is not as advanced, so her knowledge alone impresses a lot of people, and that's what captures you. But I don't want to make this video too long. I have a lot more content in regards to the Apothecary Diaries. Like I said, I will get to season 2. I'm pretty much right there, and I will give more in-depth review. But pretty much, I mean, I'm gonna say it right now. I'm just for the record. I could be wrong in the next video. I'm okay with being like nobody's perfect. I'm okay with being wrong. This anime is probably a 10 out of 10 for me. I don't think I've given an anime a 10 out of 10 in a long time. I really enjoy watching this anime and not one superpower. Go figure. But it's your man MAS. Please, if you like the content, like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.